Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review the new documentary, Brainwashed, Sex, Camera, Power. And this is from director Nina Menkes, and who basically takes her thesis of the meta level of filmmaking and how women are portrayed and the male gaze is realized in film is all about the power struggle between men and women in the film industry. And I have to say, this is a really eye-opening experience. It's very intelligent, it has a lot of great evidence, and it's portrayed well through the use of actual film and example. And that's what I appreciated most about this. And no matter what negatives I'm about to say, I feel like overall, this is a very effective film. And it's presented in an interesting way because generally you don't see a thesis, this kind of argument, portrayed so specifically in a film. I do have to say, the presentation comes off more like a TED Talk, cutting between scenes from films, and obviously the evidence is very cinematic because it is film. We're watching movies, we're watching clips from films, but a lot of it's just Menkes standing there, presenting, and it's like we are indeed watching a TED Talk, and that's not quite cinematic. And I feel like that's going to alienate a lot of people going to watch this film and realizing that it is kind of just somebody being recorded doing a presentation, but intercutting into actual films. And I do think that there are some moments where I don't think the scenes are fully represented or understood in ways that they're utilized in her arguments. So there's a couple of moments where I feel like her arguments are quite flawed. Especially there's one where she really targeted Blade Runner 2049 because of the character Joy and also the pornography connotations of that name, and then wrote off like, see how disgusting this is, and this got nominated for a bunch of Oscars, and it's just like, I think you're missing the point. And I do think there's a couple of moments where the analysis is very surface level and you're just taking it for face value instead of really what the director's really going for. But I do, like I said, think that her arguments and her perspective are quite impactful and eye-opening as she presents this underlying subconscious approach to how we portray women in film. And because so many men are composers and how they play music in certain scenes, how many moments like cinematographers are men and how they look at women, and even like a female-directed film like The Hurt Locker is a very man-centered story with a bunch of men all around Catherine Bigelow. I do think there's some moments that it really opened my eyes to, and like, I've never thought once that the scene in Blade Runner, a lot of Blade Runner focus here, where Deckard forces himself upon Sean Young's character, and I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to be rooting for him, but she did mention how the music is portrayed and how the music is supposed to be getting an emotional reaction out of us, and I'm like, not wrong. And there's moments like that that do open eyes. There are a few moments that I don't think really work and they could have done without it. And my last bit is like, she basically just started using a bunch of her own films as examples to be like, and this is how it's done. And it's just like, if you're trying to make an argument and a real critique of film, you don't go start being like, well, look how much better my film is. My films are. And I feel like this film would have been stronger if she didn't lean so heavily on her own work to try to push forward that, like, this is how things are done in an effective and meaningful way, because it kind of makes you lose credibility because it makes you feel extremely biased. So There's pieces to it that don't really click for me like that, but overall, her perspective and her thesis are not wrong, are well evidenced, and still make this film overall an impactful experience that helps you open your eyes to some systematic problems in the film industry. And I definitely think this film is worth checking out. But those are my thoughts on Brainwashed. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.